Priyanka Chopra Jonas producing this with Purple Pictures, I think was very exciting for me.
Amazing. And so good she used her power to kind of go, oh, let me bring all these people here. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was her way of saying, she said, I want a poster with a female Indian lead on it. And she got 2 female Indian leads on one poster. Pretty impressive. Because it went to such an extreme with the MeToo movement and Black Lives Matter, it's so exciting because honestly, this change has been talked about for years and nothing has happened. There are literal laws that are happening now where you have to have a certain representation. And even though people are like, oh, that should come naturally, well, it hadn't come naturally. So I'm so excited by that, that people have to now include people they would never include.
Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani. Welcome to Speak Easy, and today I'll be chatting with an actor who's making us proud nationally and internationally. She's of course been such a representation for South Asian actors worldwide, and she has done so much of work. And today we have Sarita Choudhury joining us from very, very far off, and we are going to have a lot of fun in this conversation. Sarita, how have you been doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I think like we all have been trying to be in this pandemic.
I've never had so much time to actually catch up on films and books, and that's been amazing. Never had this kind of time.
In my introduction, I mentioned about how you have been such a representation for South Asian actors, Indian actors. And now I think the path looks easier. But when you started, I don't think it was this easy. Now, people are talking about more inclusion, more, participation from all kinds of people. I think it's fascinating to see the change. But however, I would like you to tell me how difficult that journey was for you, and the kind of rejections or the kind of racist comments that you sometimes get to hear that bothers you,
Good thing about it is when I was doing the journey, because I had no one else to look at who was doing the journey, you don't take it as personally because you feel a bit of a revolutionary. So you're like, all right, yes, a lot of rejection. I got a feeling people just didn't know where to place me. Like, where is she from? It just didn't make as much sense to them where they could put me in a movie. And I felt, okay, I can't change what I look like and who I am, but I can take the route of theater. And the more I would do theater, the better my auditions became. And I would play with the industry a bit. I'd, dress differently. I'd wear boy clothes and put on high heels. I would because they were confused anyway. I was like, I'm not going to play the game normally. And I was just lucky to find a few people who trust me. Mira gave me my launch, a theater director after that, and just here and there, and then it added up. But it took a while. And you get very strong because you're so used to the rejections. It's incredible.
During an audition that was so ridiculous that you're like, why is this even being considered?
I once went to an audition when my agent called and we were laughing because they had seen Mississippi Masala, and when I came in the room, they had thought I was Black. So when I walked in the room, they were like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm South Asian. And so it's almost like they had watched the movie and created their own idea. And that to me, I was like, what? That was just one of them.
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? It's because I feel like, and this is not just for people who are in the US, I think a lot of other people as well, I think they don't make an effort to understand other cultures better.
Exactly. And in this case, exactly. In this case, they wanted to hire a Black actress. So when I said thought I was Black, I realized, oh, they watched Mississippi Masala, and did they not take in the whole Indians? It's about an Indian family, but it made me realize because they weren't used to, or it wasn't part of their thing. And sometimes I think it's not so much racism, it's just ignorance in what you're used to. And also part of my brain was thinking, but if you liked the movie and you liked me, why are you now questioning? I wanted to say I'm Black. Like, would that help? Like, I didn't understand what the confusion
Why?
was, but it made me understand that this was a land I was heading into that was gonna, that in a way I had to stop listening to what people said, because
Yeah.
it didn't,
Yeah.
my brain would just expire. So
Their stereotypical roles that they usually offer to Indian people are, you know, like you said, IT, doctors, whatever. What are the most stereotypical things they, you know, they offer to an
me
Indian
is
women?
therapist, lawyer, doctor. I remember I always wanted to play instead, you know, like the chick who chews gum and has a lollipop, but no, I was always in a suit, and always power roles for me, which I hate because you have to have good posture. You have to command the scene,
Yeah.
so you can't put nerves into it. And I was always like, I just want to play, you know, the dealer on the corner. But
Something where you could be crazy.
yeah, just relaxed. Yeah.
Evil Eye is such an interesting story because, first of all, again, South Asian actors, Indian actors coming together. You know, I think it's amazing that you also have Priyanka Chopra Jonas producing it along with others. And coming together to do like sort of a horror thriller zone, which I don't see too many stories with these faces. And I wonder why, right?
Yeah, this is, you know, when I saw the script, I was like, well, of course it's an all South Asian cast because the story is that. But now I realize what we're talking about is that the platform of Blumhouse, which is putting this out worldwide, how great that they could have chose other scripts. They chose a South Asian one for a horror thriller genre. And that's amazing. It also shows what's been happening in the last year is literally starting to show some change. I mean, this is kind of the beginning. Let's see. I'm hoping for more. I think it's also up to us to choose stories like that. Like, I remember when I saw Evil Eye, what I loved about it was it didn't explain, like suddenly you're in Delhi. It didn't think, oh, we're going out to an international audience, we should explain things. No, you're in our kitchen and the story begins, and you better follow it because there's no explanation, and it's easy to follow because it's universal. And instead of making South Asians like, oh, they're over there and let's explain, what is that? What are they wearing? And what? No, it's normal. And I love that about this platform and how they let us show that, you know.
Have you been really, you know, obsessed ever with a certain ritual or a certain sort of belief? Like,
You know,
you know,
interesting, and I think this plays into the film. The only times in my life I may have been a little matches times in my life where I was worried about something and didn't want to get neurotic about it. And the more I thought about this film, you never know, is it Usha's trauma or her real belief in the evil eye and mythology and astrology? Which came first? Do you know what I mean? Because we often need that more when we're dealing with trauma, you know?
Who are the Indian directors and Indian actors you'd really love to collaborate with because of the kind of work that they've done?
Just recently, I was telling someone that I saw the film Masan. I was like, when I see a film like that, I am like, you know what? India's top of the game. They're just, this is the kind of film I love. So even though I enjoy some Bollywood movies and a lot of the series that are out lately, I find they're really well produced. The acting is really good. I'm impressed. But when I saw Masan, I remember thinking, oh my God, that's the kind of subtlety and work that attracts me.
Vikramaditya Motwani is going to be very, very happy about that one.
Good.
So maybe a collab in the future.
And I also, you know, some of the series that you get addicted to, like Zoya's work, you know, she's like, she goes from Gully Boy to doing a full series to, I mean, I'm just impressed right now.
So, you know, we were talking about little fires everywhere before we started the interview, and we're talking about how it's, you know, we keep having this conversation about how more women producers, writers, director need to step in and collaborate together to make this a more equal place. Even in storytelling, to change the way stories of women are being told. And I know Reese Witherspoon and a lot of other women have constantly spoken about the fact that it's a part of changing this entire sexist narrative that we have. And, you know, and this is adding to it. Do you feel that as well?
It's so interesting because I admire people like Reese and Carrie who not only are acting, but they're producing and creating that change. I'm so much lazier than that. I will make the change when I join a project. I will fight for the lines, and I want to include everyone. I want to help with diverse casting. I want to do all of that. But I'm not a producer type. Do you know what I mean? I find that shocking that they can do all of that as well. So my new thing is to find writers that are telling a different story with a cast that, you know, has been unseen so far. That's my new beginning. But I hesitate to even call it producing because I'm too lazy.
But I think in a way it's true, right? They will sort of eventually change this place, will make it better.
Yeah, I mean, what's happening this last year, because it went to such an extreme with the MeToo movement and Black Lives Matter, it's so exciting because honestly, this change has been talked about for years and nothing has happened. There are literal laws that are happening now where you have to have a certain representation. And even though people are like, oh, you know, that should come naturally, well, it hadn't come naturally. So I'm so excited by that. Do you know that people have to now include people they would never include before. And there are going to be mistakes made, but that's going to be fun to watch what happens. So I've literally noticed it in the last few months, except we've had COVID. So it's been hard to notice everything.
And to end it, of course, you know, you have a story. We're talking about Black Lives Matter, and I talk about, you know, we talk about racism that is rampant and it's becoming better today. I'm sure you've also been at the other side, received it. When I see films like this, where I think the representation is so apt, you know, every character in Evil Eye is so much beyond just who their ethnic background is. They're like so much more than that. I feel like this will also add to the ongoing conversation. You know, looking at them just like normal people out there. Please tell me about how you have to combat things and how you think this will add to the narrative further.
I think the only way to combat things is to just do it. So Evil Eye, we did it. It's now out. Hopefully that means someone else who sees that is like, oh, I can do that too. And the train goes. You know, I think, I remember when I was in India shooting a film called For Real with Sona Jain, who lives in Delhi, who's such a bright mind. And I realized everywhere there are people ready to go. The things just need to be financed. And so the revolution isn't only, we have the creative level, what we need is the backing. And that's where I'm interested in seeing a change is, okay, if you produce one big blockbuster, you should also have to produce one other film. Like it should be part of a contract. Just because I think there are voices that are right now ready to be heard.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I think, like I said, I think Priyanka Chopra Jonas producing this with Purple Pictures, I think was very exciting for me.
Amazing. And so good. She used her power to kind of go, oh, let me bring all these people here. Do you know what I mean? Like it was her way of saying, she said, I want a poster with a female Indian lead on it. And she got 2 female Indian leads on one poster. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Walking the talk. It's really important. But thank you.
Thank you
so much, Sarita. This was so much fun.
And so much fun.